Welcome to a totally awesome video. In this video, we will be looking at how to recover from prolonged high-level stress. Recovering from prolonged high-level stress can be extremely difficult. However, it can also be one of the most rewarding transformations a person undergoes. Because when you understand what stress actually does to the brain and body, you realize something important. You are not broken. You are adapted. And what you have adapted to can also be reversed. So let's dive into what prolonged stress is. Living under prolonged high-level stress is more common than most people realize. It can stem from work pressure, financial strain, emotional overload, health concerns, or prolonged periods of uncertainty. But over time, the body does not simply get used to it. It adapts. And those adaptations are designed for short-term survival, not long-term well-being. The key hormone involved is cortisol. Cortisol is not the enemy. In fact, it is essential for waking up, responding to challenges, and staying alert. The issue is not cortisol itself. The issue is that it stays elevated too often and for too long, without enough recovery periods. So, what does high stress do to the brain? When stress becomes chronic, the brain shifts into survival priority mode, and that changes everything. The amygdala, which detects threat, becomes more reactive. This means you can feel on edge more easily, even when nothing is actually wrong. Uncertainty starts to feel dangerous. Pressure starts to feel constant. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, planning, and emotional regulation, becomes less efficient under load. This is why people often describe feeling mentally slower, more reactive, or unable to think clearly during long periods of stress. The hippocampus, which supports memory and learning, is also affected by prolonged cortisol exposure. This can show up as forgetfulness, reduced focus, or difficulty processing complex information. Sleep is also disrupted. Deep sleep cycles are reduced, and this limits physical recovery and emotional reset. And this creates a loop. Poor sleep increases stress sensitivity, and stress disrupts sleep even further. But importantly, none of these changes is permanent damage. They are functional survival adaptations. The brain is prioritizing survival over optimization. The key shift in recovery. Recovery does not come from forcing relaxation. It comes from consistently signaling safety to the nervous system. Because the nervous system only changes when it believes the environment has changed. Many people try to recover using willpower alone. They try to think differently while their body is still in a stress state. But real recovery happens when the body receives repeated evidence that the pressure is reducing. Sleep as the foundation. Sleep is the most powerful recovery tool available, because it is when cortisol resets and the brain begins repair processes. A consistent sleep schedule is more important than perfection. Waking and sleeping at similar times each day helps regulate the internal clock. Morning light exposure is also critical. Natural light early in the day helps set the cortisol rhythm, which improves both daytime energy and nighttime sleep quality. Evening behavior matters too. Reducing stimulation before bed allows the nervous system to shift out of alert mode. This means less intense input, fewer emotionally charged conversations, and more time to wind down. Over time, better sleep creates a compounding effect: more energy, more emotional stability, and greater stress resilience, resetting the nervous system. A nervous system under long-term stress often stays activated even when external pressure decreases, so physical regulation becomes essential. Slow breathing is one of the simplest tools. Longer exhalations signal safety to the body and reduce stress activation. Walking is another powerful regulator. It is rhythmic, low intensity, and helps metabolize stress hormones. Walking outdoors is even more effective because of natural sensory input. Gentle strength training can also help once stability improves. The key is not intensity, it is consistency. The body learns safety through repetition, not extremes. Stabilizing energy and chemistry. Blood sugar stability plays a major role in stress recovery. When blood sugar is unstable, the body can interpret it as another form of threat. This can keep stress hormones elevated. Regular meals with adequate protein help stabilize energy and reduce crashes. Hydration and mineral balance also become more important under stress, not less. They support basic physiological regulation that the body relies on during recovery. Reducing mental overload. One of the most persistent drivers of stress is constant mental processing. The brain replays scenarios, predicts outcomes, and stays engaged even when nothing is happening. Recovery requires separating thinking time from rest time. A helpful approach is to set a specific time each day for planning or problem solving. Outside of that time, attention is deliberately redirected. Writing thoughts down also helps reduce mental looping. It removes pressure from working memory and creates mental space. Restoring motivation and emotional balance. Long-term stress can flatten motivation and emotional energy. This is not a personality flaw. It is a recalibration of reward systems in the brain. Recovery comes through small, consistent wins that rebuild momentum. Progress needs to become visible again. Social connection also plays an important role. Supportive interaction helps regulate stress systems. Isolation tends to reinforce them. At the same time, reducing overstimulation helps the brain return to calmer states. What recovery actually looks like. Recovery does not happen in a straight line. It unfolds in stages. First, sleep begins to improve. Then, physical tension starts to reduce. Next, mental clarity returns. Emotional reactivity becomes less intense. Over time, energy stabilizes and resilience increases. Eventually, the nervous system returns to a more balanced baseline. The timeline is different for everyone, but the direction is consistent when the right conditions are maintained. The effects of prolonged high-level stress are real, but they are not permanent. The brain and body are adaptive systems. When the environment changes, they change with it. Recovery is not about becoming someone new. It is about removing the constant pressure that forced survival mode in the first place, and allowing the system to return to balance. With consistent sleep, nervous system regulation, stable routines, and reduced mental overload, the brain can recover clarity, the body can recover stability, and life can gradually feel manageable again. If you found this content helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel so I can make more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.